Hey there, if you're wanting to become a better eBay seller, then you're in the right place. I've been selling on eBay for over 14 years, I've processed over 50,000 transactions, and I've cleared well over $1 million in sales. And today, I'm gonna give you 50 practical real-world tips that will help you build a successful eBay reselling business. These tips cover everything from sourcing inventory to customer service, shipping, and scaling your business. So without further ado, here are 14 years of eBay selling advice that will make you more money. All right, let's start off this video with sourcing and product selection. My first tip is to always start with what you know. I always recommend beginning on eBay by selling items that you're already familiar with. If you're into sneakers, video games, or vintage toys, use that knowledge to your advantage. If you do so, you'll list faster, price your items better, and describe your listings more accurately. You may even have some of these items already laying around your house. Starting with items that you're familiar with is the best way to learn the ropes on eBay. Once you've mastered the basics, you can move on to buying products to flip and then resell on eBay. Now, when you're ready to start reselling, you should always aim to buy low and sell high. Now, this might sound obvious, but the key to a profitable eBay business is buying undervalued goods and then selling them at market price. The easiest way to learn how to do this is by starting out looking for bargains at places like thrift stores, yard sales, clearance racks, and online marketplaces. Now, once you get a feel for what sells and what items are profitable, you can then scale your business greatly by buying wholesale deals and liquidation lots. Next, when it comes to sourcing product, it is best to niche down and then scale out. When starting, I recommend that you pick one category to master, like electronics or clothing, and then expand to new or different categories as you learn the ropes. Specializing early helps you become an expert and speeds up sourcing and listing. Now, when it comes to product research, I always recommend that you use the eBay app while you're sourcing. When you're out shopping, open the eBay app to scan barcodes and search for items. This will let you instantly see sold prices and help you decide on whether something is worth buying or not. If you're selling on eBay, there's no need to use any other pricing apps. Now, when you're researching items, you should always check out the sold listings, not only the active ones. Just because something is listed for $100 on eBay doesn't mean that it will actually sell for that. So go to the sold filter on eBay and see what people are actually paying for an item that you're considering flipping. Another helpful sourcing tip is to always be mindful of seasons. For example, Christmas decor in November, now that's a great idea, but snow gear in July, not so much. Now sure, those out of season items could sell if you price them cheap enough, but you could get stuck on holding onto those items a lot longer than you want to keep them in your inventory. Now, another huge tip that I wish I would have known when I was starting out is that you should always look for replenishable products. These are items that people buy over and over again. Think of things like makeup, disposable razors, printer ink, or pet supplies, or any other consumable product that can be resold consistently and in volume. My next tip when it comes to sourcing is that electronics can be extremely profitable, but they can be risky. You should always aim to test every electronic before you sell it to ensure that you're not accidentally selling a defective product. When you do make a high dollar sale, tread carefully, especially when you're starting out. Scammers often target new sellers and sometimes will try to take advantage of you by returning their old or broken electronics. You can protect yourself by keeping good records and documenting your listings with good photos. Another huge sourcing tip is that bulk lots can save you a ton of time and boost your profits. Picking items from thrift stores and garage sales is a ton of fun, but it can also be extremely time consuming. I learned after a few years of reselling that when you buy in bulk, it reduces sourcing time and can offer huge returns. Good bulk buys like liquidation pallets or wholesale deals can be more difficult to find, but the payoff is a lot greater when you land those deals. Okay, another sourcing tip that I wish I would have learned before I started out selling on eBay is that you should always be honest about the condition of your items. You should never try to hide flaws just to try to make a sale, because the buyer will always find out that defect that you intentionally or unintentionally missed, and they won't be happy about it when they contact you. You can avoid these customer service issues by describing any flaws clearly and show them in your listing photos. Now keep in mind that trust equals sales and sales equal profit. All right, now let's talk about listing optimization. You want your listings to be search optimized because doing so will boost them in the eBay algorithm, and more visibility on your listings means that you'll make more sales. After all, if buyers can't find your listings, then they can't buy what you're selling. Now, the single most important thing when it comes to listing optimization is that your photos are everything. You can be terrible at a lot of other things on eBay and your items can still sell, but if your photos are bad, you may as well forget it. Having good photos not only boosts sales, but it also makes your buyers confident that what they're purchasing from you is going to be exactly what they want. Now, to ensure that you're always taking good photos, you always want to use good lighting. Now, if you don't have good lighting, you can't go wrong with taking your photographs outside during the day in natural daylight. Also, I recommend taking photographs from multiple angles and focus on any flaws. Once again, better photos means more trust and more sales. Also, you want to aim to take as many photos as possible. eBay gives you 24 photos, so use as many as you can. Not only do lots of photographs build buyer confidence and reduce questions, but getting lots of photos also gives you a bump in eBay search results. Also, when it comes to the eBay algorithm, white backgrounds work best. Not only are they clean and professional, but they're favored by Cassini, which is eBay's search algorithm. Now, if you don't have a good white background, check out the photo settings on your eBay app after you've taken your photos. eBay now has an AI photo removal tool that can generate a white background for you no matter what background you use when you take your pictures. Having a white background can also give your listings a boost on external search results outside of eBay on places like Google Shopping. Okay, so now let's talk about some more listing practices and item specifics. First, you always want to make sure that your listing title is optimized for search results. A good listing title uses strong keywords that buyers are actually searching for. You want to think of things like brand, model, size, color, and item type. When coming up with a listing title, try to avoid keyword stuffing. Cramming unrelated terms in your title makes you look spammy and it hurts your trust factor. So don't use emoji, special characters, or words that are unrelated to what you're selling. eBay gives you 80 characters for your title, and you should aim to use as many of those characters as you can. But keep the words in your title relevant and don't stray away from anything that would accurately describe your item. Next, you should always aim to fill out as many item specifics on your listing as possible. Don't skip over things like size, brand, or color. Now, after you've done that, include a clear, helpful description in your listing by giving buyers all of the info that they need. You should mention any flaws, measurements, usage history, or anything that sets your item apart from any other listing on eBay. Also, when you're creating listings, I recommend utilizing the eBay listing templates feature that eBay offers to help you save time. You can create reusable templates for similar products, and that makes listing a lot faster and more convenient. Finally, when it comes to listing optimization, you should always be careful with condition labels. The new other category on eBay is an option on most listings, but it can be confusing to buyers. If it looks new, but it's not sealed or unused, I'd recommend just calling it used to avoid any other headaches that could come up down the road. All right, let's move on to shipping tips. First, I recommend investing in a good, accurate scale and label printer if you don't already have one. A shipping scale and thermal printer save you time and money, and they pay for themselves quickly. If you have both of these things, you can accurately weigh and measure your items ahead of time. Whatever you do, don't guesstimate. You always want to make sure that you know the weight and size of your item before you list it to avoid any unpleasant surprises. Plus, if you know the weight and size of your item, you can use calculated shipping on eBay. Calculated shipping gives you and the buyer the exact shipping cost, and it's never inaccurate. I recommend avoiding flat shipping at all costs because it's not accurate and it only leaves room for shipping mistakes. Now, when it comes to shipping materials, the lighter the packaging, the less it's going to cost you to mail that package. Plastic poly mailers and bubble mailers are great for soft items. I recommend using them for clothing and soft goods because they're cheaper, lighter, and they get the job done. Another helpful tip is that you can always recycle and reuse clean packing materials. I always save boxes and bubble wrap whenever I can get my hands on them to reuse for future eBay orders. It's a great way to be eco-friendly and reduces the costs that come with shipping. Now, you can also get free priority mail flat rate boxes from the post office like this one right here. Now, flat rate boxes can be a great deal, but not always. It's important to compare flat rate boxes with all of the other shipping options on eBay before purchasing postage. Don't just assume that since flat rate boxes are free from the post office that they're always a deal. It's important to know when you should use them, and remember that the lower you can get your shipping cost, the more profitable you'll be on eBay. Another good tip is to always offer multiple shipping options on your listings. Some buyers will pay extra to get their items fast, while other buyers don't mind waiting and want you to ship it to them as cheap as possible. If you give your buyers multiple choices, it'll convert to more sales. And if you have the ability to offer your customers free shipping, it will also give your listings a boost in eBay's search algorithm. Now, when you're purchasing shipping, I recommend using eBay's shipping interface. eBay partners with every mail carrier and has contracts with those carriers to give you discounted commercial shipping rates. So use them. The savings that you get with eBay can be significant and save you up to 35% off of the retail rates that you'd pay at the counter at the post office. Plus, if you ship on eBay, tracking is always automatically updated to each transaction. Now, tracking is important because it reassures buyers and it protects you in the case of disputes. Now, if for whatever reason you're not able to purchase postage directly on eBay, always make sure to upload your tracking numbers manually to each transaction. Now finally, the most important tip when it comes to shipping is to always ship your items fast. Same or next day shipping helps boost your feedback, it boosts you in search rankings, and it leads to repeat buyers. In the day and age we're living in, customers want their packages as fast as possible. All right, let's transition now to customer service. Customer service on eBay should be no different than the service that you would give if you are handling a transaction face-to-face in a brick and mortar store. It all comes down to the basics. Treat people how you would want to be treated or better. If a customer messages you, respond to that customer quickly and professionally. You should always aim to reply within 24 hours or even faster. Fast communication builds trust, and that trust converts to sales. It's important to always stay professional on eBay. You'll run into rude or demanding buyers from time to time, but always keep your cool. Because after all, your reputation as an eBay seller depends on it. If you do run into a problem with a buyer, always aim to solve those problems before eBay has to step in. If a buyer opens a claim or case, aim to offer partial refunds, exchanges, or returns if there's an issue. Yes, I know it hurts to take returns, and I hate them just as much as I did 14 years ago when I started out selling. But offering returns increases buyer confidence and improves your listing visibility. Plus, it's usually cheaper to offer a refund on one transaction than it would be if you were to receive a defect on that transaction on your eBay account. Because if you get too many defects on your eBay account, it could lead to restrictions or even to your account getting banned. So to make sure that you're staying on top of defects, you should always monitor your seller dashboard. Checking it regularly will help you keep your metrics strong and ensure that you're in good standing with eBay. Now, one way that you can avoid a lot of problems with customers is by showing gratitude. A simple way to do this is to send a thank you note with all of your orders. Plus, a small card or message inside of a package can turn a one-time buyer into a repeat customer. Sometimes confrontation on eBay is unavoidable. A buyer may even surprise you with negative feedback, and you may be tempted to respond aggressively. But whatever you do, don't argue in public feedback. Take the high road and keep your responses calm and professional and polite. Another tip when it comes to feedback is that you can automate your feedback responses. Doing this will automatically send positive feedback, and you can set this up in your account settings. Doing so can save you a lot of time versus if you were to have to do that manually. Now that we've talked about customer service, let's talk about business practices. First, I'd encourage you to track everything from the start. Keep records of every sale, purchase, and expense. eBay has some really great reporting features in their Selling Hub, and you'll want to download those reports and look at them frequently to keep track of your business. You can also use your own spreadsheets or accounting software if you desire. Now, I'd also encourage you to separate your business and personal finances. If you haven't done so already, open up a separate bank account for your eBay business and keep your business transactions organized. The more organized you are, the more you'll appreciate that organization come tax time. So it's a good idea to always keep track of your cost of goods, fees, shipping costs, and any other expenses. The more business-minded you start thinking, the more successful you'll be at running your eBay business. Now, when it comes to handling your finances with eBay, I would recommend not overextending yourself financially. Try avoiding debt and don't buy more inventory than you can handle. An eBay business is great because it's one of the few business models out there where you don't have to put up a lot of upfront investment to get it all started. And you really don't have to take on any debt if you start off small and grow gradually. As you make sales, reinvest your profits back into inventory, scale and grow slowly as you learn, and before you know it, your eBay business will grow healthily. Now, as your business grows, you can set yourself up for success by staying organized. You can do this by using shelves, bins, and labels to organize your inventory and keep it neat. Knowing where your inventory is saves time and headaches down the road. When you're starting off on eBay, it's easy to keep track of a few active listings, but as your business grows and you get more and more listings, it can be a little bit more difficult to keep track of hundreds or even thousands of active products if you don't have a good plan. Now, a good plan that I recommend is to adopt a custom label or SKU inventory system from the start. eBay lets you add custom labels to your listings, so use these to track your inventory locations and cost. I'll drop a link at the end of this video to an older video where I show exactly how I organize my inventory with custom labels and SKUs. Okay, so now that we've talked about business practices, let's talk about growth and scaling. Every eBay seller's goal should always be to strive to grow their reselling business and make it more profitable. And one way to do that is to prioritize fast-selling inventory. On eBay, just like with any other product-driven business, turnover matters. For example, 10 $10 items that sell fast can outperform one $100 item that sits on your shelf for a long time. If you're prioritizing fast sales over slow ones, you can take those profits and reinvest them into new inventory. The more you do that, the quicker your business can grow. Another great way to ensure growth is to list consistently. You'll hear resellers here on YouTube tell you all of the time to list consistently if you watch enough YouTube videos. But the fact is, the eBay algorithm favors activity. If possible, list a few items daily or even weekly to stay on top. If you take off too much time from listing, you'll probably notice a big dip in your sales. Another tip that I recommend to help you grow is to use promoted listings and best offers strategically. By using marketing tools like those, it can really help you convert on listings that you're having a hard time selling. Remember, not every item needs a boost or marketing, but some items really benefit when you do so. I recommend testing promoted listings on items that are high competition or items that have been in your inventory for a long time. Another great way that you can grow your eBay business is by staying flexible and curious. Remember, markets constantly change. Whatever sells well today may not sell well tomorrow. It's important to always adapt, learn, and evolve. Because if you don't, I can guarantee you that your eBay competition is. Now, one way that you can constantly learn and stay up to date is by watching and studying successful resellers. Look at top sellers in your category. What are they doing right? What products are they selling like crazy? Learn from them. And here on YouTube, it's a great place to learn from some of the best resellers on the planet. Now, finally, one of the biggest ways you can grow that may seem counterintuitive is to take occasional breaks. There is such a thing as going too hard at eBay, and I know this because I've been guilty of it a time or two in the past. Schedule days off to rest and regroup, and whatever you do, try not to burn out. Because if you burn out, you're not gonna be successful on eBay in the long run. Okay, so there you have it. I think I've now shared over 50 tips to help you succeed on eBay, straight from someone who's been in the trenches for over 14 years. Now, if you take even a handful of these seriously, you're already way ahead of the curve and are going to be more successful as a reseller than most people will ever be. Now, if you have any questions about anything that I've shared, feel free to drop a comment down below and I'll try my best to get back to you. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this on a regular basis, subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified anytime I drop a new video like this one. Now get out there, start listing, and build your eBay empire. Good luck and happy selling.